The Diode SuperGP Champions Trophy is proudly brought to you by Digital Entertainment On Demand and their associate sponsors. Now they come to the line now to take up the positions and get ready for race 1 of the SuperGP Champions Trophy. Championship points up for grabs. It's 181 versus 164. That is Sella and Scholz, both on Yamahas. It's Lance Isaacs in third place with Brent Herron on his tail, and then all about Kershaw. Kershaw will look to keep out Brandon Good, who's on the front row, as we've already mentioned. There he is in the middle of the front row on the Nashua M-Tech Yamaha. Green flag. About to go up at the back. Johan van der Merwe Jr. is our last rider on the Ducati who takes up his position. Heads up now for the lights. Watch for the riders to put their heads down. Lights will go on. As soon as they go off, we go racing down into turn 1, and the lights are off. Brent Herron got a good start there. So did Upton. Upton comes alongside Herron. Look at Kershaw off the line. He goes on the inside of Lance Isaacs and goes to third. Exactly what I thought might happen. The two Yamahas are side by side, and it's Brandon Good who comes out in the front.
Did you see that?
Unbelievable stuff from him.
Greg, did you see that? Matthew Scholz just flicked his wrist there at Lance Isaacs. They came together into turn 1, so not happy there, Matthew Scholz. But look at Brandon Good out front. That's exactly what the team wanted. That's exactly what Matthew Scholz wanted, because Brandon Good can maybe just hold the pace and hold Sella behind him. That'll allow Matthew Scholz to come through. But Nick Kershaw up in third with Lance Isaacs. Matthew Scholz made a couple of positions, but he needs to get past those two BMWs fast.
He's got to get through there immediately. And in the background, winning out the Kawasaki battle was Upton. Herron into the second spot there, but it's looking at 7th place on the road. He's got some work to do to stay with Darren Upton as they head down the short straight into the chicane, into the hairpin, I beg your pardon. A little bit sideways there, but as you said, that's the kind of riding style that Goody does also have, very similar to Anthony Shelley, and he's able to maintain some good pace. He's keeping Sella out for now, and that's exactly what the team wants him to do. Maintain that pace. Wait for your teammate to come for a ride, and let's go Yamahas 1, 2, and 3. But the two BMs that are sitting in 3rd and 4th place right now are not going to allow Scholz through that easily.
And the two Kawasaki's dreadful starts from Brent Herron on the front row of the grid has gone to the back of that pack. And Darren Upton also not the greatest of start, but Brandon Good doing a great job here. He's going to lead out onto the back straight for the first time. Clint Sella right in his slipstream, and Matthew Scholz will be so frustrated here because he cannot find a way past those two BMWs at the moment. But watch him on the brakes. I have no doubt that Matthew Scholz is going to make a move on the brakes. Sella on the brakes. He goes on the inside. Nice clean move there. Scholz, I don't know if he's made the move on the very fast BMW down the back straight. This is the last thing he would want to see is Clint Sella out front. Brandon Good going to have to do something, and there Scholz is still behind the BMs.
Yeah, Kershaw just maintaining great pace and very late braking as they went into the Discover Digital chicane. Now they come out of turn 1 heading towards turn 2. Incredible stuff here between the BMs. In fact, Kershaw loses out to Isaacs into turn 1, so Isaacs has gone through. Here's goes Scholz. Scholz up and a little bit wide. Oh, nearly a touch between him and Kershaw. Kershaw and Scholz coming together, and here comes Herron. Herron's coming along for the ride. Along with Herron comes Upton. Upton on the back end of Kershaw, looking for a chance to sneak through. He's going to go for it, and he's going to make it stick. Incredible stuff there from Upton. He will run wide. I don't think he'll be able to hold it. Oh, he does. Where did he find that line from?
Darren Upton's got that bike set up perfectly to make those kind of moves, but Matthew Scholz is the man on the mission now. He's just behind Lance Isaacs as they come onto the backstretch. Will he be able to make the move on the brakes? We know he's got the better pace. He goes on the inside. Looks like he's going for the move. That's late braking from Matthew Scholz. Gets it sideways. Will he get it stopped? He does. What an amazing move there from Matthew Scholz. He's up into 3rd place now, but Sella already has the gap, so Scholz really has to put his head down now, chase down his teammate first and foremost. That's Brandon Good running in a good solid 2nd position, and then try and chase down the other Yamaha man, Clint Sella, out front at the moment.
I can't believe the action we've seen so far in the Super GP race number 1. It looks like Isaac's now trying to get his head all sorted out to consolidate what's happened in front of him and try and run with Scholz. If he can run with Scholz, could possibly just get a little bit of a toe up there with both Brandon Good and Scholz to the lead. He's still got a chance of a podium here, even though we're so early on the race. Ride it down, that's Herron. Brent Herron is down.
No, that's Darren Upton, is it? I think that's Darren Upton. That's Darren Upton coming out of the right-hander into the fast left. So, that's a big crash there. I'm sure that's Darren Upton. I'm looking at the gurney. Yeah, it's Darren Upton in the Dainese suit. So, good to see that he was moving at least. But looks like he's taken, that's a very funny place to crash. It's coming out of the long right-hander into that very fast left-hander. It's in between those two turns.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately,
out of the dog bone.
Exactly. That's exactly where it's happened. So, are we going to see a red flag because that bike is lying in a fairly dangerous position? But Darren Upton definitely looking like he needs some treatment, but he has moved, which is good to see.
Yeah, good to see him moving there. I'm sure that we're going to get the...
there he is.
Yeah, he's walking away. I think he was just a bit winded. Took his time. Marshall's going to move across to try and move the bike as quickly as possible. Potentially no safety car or red flag needed. Probably just double yellow waves out of the dog bone section. That's where the riders are heading at this stage. They're going to go through, first of all, the short straight. And that's where potential change up for second place could happen, because here comes Scalz. Scalz on very similar machinery to what Brandon Good is on, and looking for a chance to get under the Yamaha in front of him on the brakes. Couldn't quite make it stick, but he's certainly in with a shot now. 2 Yamahas out of the M-Tech Racing stable, sponsored by Nashua this season, with the Black Swan BMW on their tail, looking to go with them to close in on our race leader. And that, of course, is the Neolife, powered by Yamaha rider Clinton Seller.
It's a much better showing from Lance Isaacs. He's managing to hold the pace of the R1s at the moment, but we know where the R1s really shine is further on in the race, where the bike just seems to maintain the tyres a little bit more than that BMW. But Matthew Scalz has closed that gap on his teammate Brandon Good, and he's going to look to try and slipstream him down there. This is where we saw him crash in the Super Pole. He made the mistake there. So, but look at Clint Seller. It's just posted a 152.5. That's almost 2 seconds faster than anyone. Brandon Good at a 53.4 was the closest to him, with Matthew Scalz 54.2. And Scalz,
so to jump in.
Yeah, Scalz, he's made the move there on the brakes. So Brandon Good, not the worst thing in the world. He can tag his teammate now and hopefully pull away from Isaacs, who I'm really impressed with. They've obviously turned the screws on that BMW, because he's showing a bit better pace than he did in Super Pole.
Yeah, the right way round as well. All 3 of those riders into the 54s on their last lap, and maintaining 54s on this one as well. Incredible stuff there from them. So 52.4 out of Seller to get away. He's now maintaining about a 4-second lead over Matthew Scalz, Lance Isaacs, and Brandon Good. Brandon Good is now in the 3rd spot and under attack from the BMW.
This is exactly what Scalz did not want to see. Clint Seller has got a 4.4 second lead over Scalz at the moment. So I don't think, barring anything going wrong with the Neolife Yamaha, Clinton Seller is going to throw that away. So it's really about maintaining second place for Matthew Scalz and heading into race 2. Brandon Good has got all kinds of trouble, because he's got a very fast now BMW and slightly better set up BMW in Lance Isaacs, who closes been big time on the brakes and pitches it in. This is a much better ride, because we saw in Super Pole he was not happy with that BMW. Seems to have got it set up a lot better.
Yeah, I remember what you said in Super Pole. Your comment was the fact that he didn't look as fast, and that's what's caught both Matt and I out on occasions this season. He doesn't look fast, or he looks erratic, and then all of a sudden just puts in a really decent lap time. So it's a slightly different riding style we're seeing out of Lance Isaac compared to what we used to see when he was on board Hondas and Kawasaki's. So certainly showing some potential here on this BMW for a podium, and it'll be great to have him back on the podium, because he really has battled over the last 2 rounds. Consistency has been his biggest enemy this season, unfortunately, and where Brandon Good has been looking incredible on the Yamaha, Lance Isaacs has battled a bit on the BM.
Here we go. It's BMW power versus the Yamaha. These are both 2015 models. It looks like the BMW definitely got the pace, but on the brakes, Brandon Good on that Yamaha really late, and Isaacs has got no chance to get on the inside there of Brandon Good. But like I said earlier, I think the Yamaha, as with regards to maintaining tyres and lap times, has a slight edge over the BMW. The BMW very shortly is going to become hard work for Lance Isaacs to maintain. There's Brent Herron, unfortunately not getting the start he wanted from the front row of the grid, and he's running down in what is a lonely 5th place now, just ahead of Nick Kershaw.
Personal best out of Brent Herron on that one, though, with a 54.895. He's still got to up that by 0.8 of a second if he wants to run the pace that Good and, of course, Matthew Scalz are doing. I'm looking at the timing monitor. The monitor says that Good is in 2nd, but he's clearly in 3rd. And I think there's a slight mix-up there in terms of maybe the timing monitor not picking up the transponders correctly. Maybe they swapped them out when they were changing bikes, or just missed that on the team's point of view. But it's certainly Good in 3rd place, fighting with Isaacs. So Goody in 54.2s. 53 dead out of Scalzi to close in on the 52.9 best lap out of Clint Seller.
Oh, Brandon Good foot out late braking. Isaacs does close in a little bit, but Good has them. He's maintaining it at the moment. Looks like he's running very defensive. Good, not running the nice wide swooping lines that his teammate is able to run, so trying to keep that BMW behind him. But this really is where the Yamaha stretches its legs through the flick-flack here. It really is an easy bike to handle. Although Isaacs makes a mistake, runs wide. You can see he's having to fight that BMW a lot more than Brandon Good is on the R1. So this is where, at this point of the race, this is where the BMW really becomes a handful, and you can see it already. Isaacs not able to carry that speed he had at the early laps.
A nice thing about this for Brandon Good is that he might be able to pull a little bit of a margin here on the BMW of Lance Isaacs. The Black Swan Energy BMW team have worked frantically to get that bike sorted, and they've done a great job to turn it around in terms of its pace from qualifying and Super Pole into race pace. And I think it's a good possibility of seeing another 1, 2, 3 out of Yamaha, and that phone of yours is going to be very itchy in your pocket to give Wilkins a bit of a shout.
Yeah, Peter Wilkins, you owe me a full page ad if that happens for sure. But Brandon Good, it's not done and dusted yet. Isaacs is there. He's making a few mistakes, Isaacs, but he's definitely looking a lot more planted than he did in Super Bowl. Super Bowl, the bike looked like it was riding him rather as him riding the bike, but seems to have definitely turned the screws and got it handling a bit better. But still, like we said earlier, it's easy to catch, to pass, especially a very fast R1 coming out of the turns. Remember, it's two different configurations, the R1 being a big bang and the normal 4-cylinder configuration of the BMW. So where the BMW, you can see Isaacs just has no lean angle grip. As soon as he gets it onto the side of the rear tire, it's just slipping. As he tries to ask for power, it's just not letting him. But the BMW's got the pace once it's upright and going through the gears. But the R1, that big bang motor with the torque coming out of the turns, is where it really, really lights up. And you can see that Isaac's making the pace up on the brakes and that, but coming out of the turns initially, the R1 pulls away.
Now, he can maintain corner speed as well on that R1, which is quite good to see. Whereas Isaacs is battling, as you said, with the traction. I think the last lap, though, we said that Sella was consolidating and maybe rolling off a little bit. Just to let you know, fastest lap of the race out of that man right now on that last lap, 52.340. Man, I think I need to go and speak to Clint about how to do a lap around here.
He just makes it look effortless.
He does.
Really is so smooth at the moment. And what's frustrating for Matthew Scholz is, as I say, that he runs on the dirt, typical Clint Sella. But the frustrating thing for Scholz is he can run the pace. Okay, it's not as smooth as Sella, but he can run the pace. And had he started from the front row of the grid where he would have qualified had he not had the crash, we would have seen him challenging a lot more, Sella a lot more at the front. But unfortunately, the way things have turned out, Sella got out front early on and he's pulled that gap. And they're running pretty much a similar times. Matthew Scholz also running the 53s, but Sella consistently in the 52s.
Yeah, 52s out of Sella, 53s out of Matthew Scholz, and 54s coming out of Goody and Isaacs. So that's the difference there. It's basically a second between the first three positions on track. And that's allowing a 5.6 second lead for the near-life Yamaha of Clint Sella. It's another 5 seconds down to third place, and Goody on the timing monitor still in second, but of course that is the man in second place, his teammate Matthew Scholz. There comes the third place battle, and Brandon Good still keeping Lance Isaacs at bay.
This is definitely the battle on track with Brandon Good. It's not easy hearing that BMW constantly on your tail. You've got to be so concentrated to just try and keep your line, hit your brake markers, and not make a mistake. We saw in the 600s with this kind of similar pressure, riders making mistakes. But Lance Isaacs, he doesn't want to be finishing fourth. Him or BMW do not want to be finishing behind these R1s, but at the moment they are. But look at Isaacs on the brakes into that hairpin. He closes half a second actually. But coming out of the turn, Brandon Good just leaps that R1 into gear and just pulls away.
Now into the dog bone, he's got the slight advantage on the handling. Handling side of things on the R1 seems to be slightly better than the BM. And of course, as I say that, Isaacs now puts in some 600 styled corners to keep up with it, but then runs wide. That's exactly his problem, not there. Just can't turn it as well as that Yamaha is turning through the dog bone section now. And he loses a little bit of ground every single time they go through the DO dog bone.
It just looks like Brandon Good's able to hold the brake in the turn a lot longer. When Lance is flicking it from left to right in the dog bones there, that's where he runs wide. He's got to let go of the brake, which means he's got to carry the momentum, which pushes him wide. Where Brandon Good is able to go brake to brake, turn to turn, curve to curve. With a BMW, clearly he can't do that. And Brandon Good got that little bit of an advantage, but Isaacs will close that gap again. But to make the pass is going to be Isaacs' biggest problem.
Now as they come across the line, completing another lap, we've got 7 to go. We're at the halfway stage, and Brandon Good is just hanging on. Speaking of hanging on and hanging cable, that man right there is giving it everything he can. Last lap out of Heron was a 55.1. We've seen 54.7s out of him. It's not good enough to close in on both Good and Lance Isaacs for third place. This man hasn't put a wheel wrong. Absolutely incredible stuff. I can't tell you how much respect I've had for this guy. He was very erratic initially when he started coming from karts into superbike racing, and all of a sudden just found his niche. Since then, he's been an incredible competitor.
I said it earlier, Greg, one of the most underrated riders for me. We forget that this guy he works a full-time job.
Yeah.
He's a bike salesman at Cayenne. So it's not like he just wakes up every day, goes and trains. He's got to juggle a full-time job, as most of these riders do, and come and do this. It's not easy when you got to train. You got to train 3 to 4 hours a day on top of your work. So it really is not easy. So I take my hat off to him. I would love to see this guy on a Moto 2 machine or in World Superbikes, because this guy's got so much talent. But at the moment, doing what he needs to do here and on track for a 4th title in a row.
That's something special that he's looking for, that is for sure. He's really done the unthinkable in being untouched in our Super Pole category. It's round number 7 of this year. So we've got 8 last year. It's 15 rounds, and he's had 14 out of 15 Super Bowls. Pretty impressive.
Good maths there.
Right, so it comes down into Discover Digital Chicane. Flicks the bike over. Just looking through the shot there, I did not see the Nashua MTech Racing Yamaha. And with 6 laps to go, I don't think we are going to see Matthew Scholz close that gap, which is now, he's gone across the line. Here comes Scholzy. Give you an indication. Across the line, 7 seconds.
And you can see the contrasting styles. Matthew Scott's elbows, knees, very Ben Spies, whereas Clint Seller, normal old school riding style, almost like a Rainey or a Schwantz, but he just manages to make it work for him and get the pace out of that. Where Scholzy, I love that riding style, very Ben Spies, elbows out, very aggressive, but Seller just looks effortless, looks so smooth and easy on the bike. This is the battle still going on for 3rd place between Brandon Good and Lance Isaacs, but it's that yo-yo effect. Isaacs can close in at certain parts of the track where Brandon Good pulls away in certain, but Lance is having to work harder than he wants to, I think, on that BMW at the moment, compared to this guy out front who's making it look oh so easy.
Yeah, that's the difference there. It's basically the easy riding style and very consistent stuff coming out of Seller. Yo-yo effect here between the Yamaha and the BMW, just showing where the bikes are good around this track and where they have a slight disadvantage. And that's exactly what we're seeing here between the BM and the Yamaha. There are parts where the Yamaha is extremely good, and there are parts where that BMW can close.
Greg, a couple of weeks ago, I actually had both these bikes on test at Red Star, and the R1 really did maintain. It was that little bit more consistent than the BM. The BM, you could throw down 1 or 2 very fast laps, maybe even faster than the R1, but the R1 could just do it for longer. And that's exactly what we're seeing here from Isaacs. He could put down 1 or 2 fast laps, but he can't put them down consistently, 3 or 4 in a row, and that is the biggest problem. Whereas Good, we haven't seen a mistake yet from Good. He hasn't run wide. He's doing what he needs to do. Where Isaacs, we've seen him run wide a couple of times, and he's really having to fight that BMW compared to Good, who looks effortless on that R1.
When we look at things in terms of the consistency of the lap times, both of them in the 54s and have been in the 54s literally from the word go. So it's just how evenly matched these two riders and their skills, as well as the machinery that they're playing on. Even though they come out of different manufacturers, the machinery is giving both of these riders a shot for the 3rd spot on the podium.
So like we said earlier, 2 completely different motorbikes. You got this R1 who's got this, they're both new 2015 bikes, both come out this year, both got all the electronics you could want on them. The BMW's got the slight edge with the auto blip, which means Lance can change down gears without having to use the clutch. The R1 doesn't have that, but again, the R1's got the nice torquey big bang motor, whereas the 4-cylinder BMW has got brutal power. Lance Isaacs running electronic suspension on the BMW, whereas Brandon Good running the initial standard, I think it's Sachs on the R1. So that's still being clicked by Ricky Moraes with his screwdriver in the MTech pit, whereas Lance's bike, even on the fly now, can change 1 or 2 things on the suspension. He can give it more preload or more compression. You're not going to be able to do that when you're riding at this pace, but he can do that. At the moment, they've definitely improved that bike from Superpole, as we've said, because he's definitely to run better pace than he was in Superpole, but still doesn't have an answer to the R1.
Also, I'm picking up on some occasions through the corners where Brandon Good, yes, his riding style is slightly different to Lance's. Lance's been a little mistake there from Brandon as they went into the hairpin, but Lance wasn't able to capitalize. I think he got caught out by it ever so slightly. But if he was awake, he could have snuck through there. I was just picking up on the riding styles there. Goody, a little bit more off the bike than Lance is, and it's also indicative of the ability of the BMW to hold the lean angle. He's battling a little bit with that lean angle. We saw it earlier on where the bike started to slip out and the back tire started to slide slightly. So maybe he's just having to hang on.
That's exactly what he's doing. Remember, these are off the showroom floor production superbikes. So if you've just bought yourself a 2015 BMW, it's exactly what Lance Isaacs has under him. He doesn't have expensive bolt-on Olin suspension, World Superbike suspension. Neither does Brandon Good. No one out there does. They've got the standard stuff that comes with the bike. It's literally a fairing kit bolted onto that bike, and off you go racing. And that is what is so impressive with this guy. Doing those lap times on a production bike. I said it earlier, I put my house on it. There aren't many riders in the world that could come here, hop on that bike and do these kind of lap times.
Impressive stuff and impressive riding from all 8 of the riders. Unfortunately, one down and not able to make it back out again was Darren Upton, but I'm sure he'll be back for race number 2 if the RSA team and Yami can get that bike sorted, which I'm sure they will be able to. It didn't look like it was too badly damaged, even though it was lying on its side coming into the exit of the dog bone and onto the back straight. Sella now on his last lap into the 53s. First time we've seen him like roll out of it ever so slightly. No. But with a 7.6 second lead ahead of Matthew Scholz, he can ease up a little bit. Your
worst lap time of the race is a 53.4 or 53.6. I mean,
can handle that.
Yeah, that's not bad going. 52.3 his fastest lap time. So that's definitely lap record stuff there from Clint Sella. We saw the other way around earlier in the year. They were into the 51s in the race. So a little bit of a difference. I actually thought this way would actually be faster, but like you said, that day was a lot cooler, so track conditions were maybe better for faster lap times with the track being cooler, where now we've got scorching conditions out there.
Yeah, we might see a little bit later on in race number 2, possibility of it getting down into the low 52s, but I don't think we're going to see 51s today. But then again, every time we say that, they're going to do something stupid and just make us look like idiots. And then you can see how people go, oh, welcome to my world. Yeah, he's not going to do a 51.9. Boom, thanks for coming.
No, he's not going to do a 51.9. I can tell you that now. I'm sure Brandon Nassif doesn't want Clint Sella doing 51.9s now. There's no need for him to do 51s now. He's out front. He's done what he had to do. Sella had to get a good start, keep out of trouble, and just do exactly what he's doing. Scholz has to somehow, in race number 2, get his way through the field, and it just shows you how important Superpole is. Had Scholz started from the front row of the grid, he would have been up there challenging with him, but unfortunately had the crash in this very corner and put him down in 8th place. Brent Herron was on the front row of the grid, made a terrible start, and unfortunately running down in 5th position, a very lonely 5th position at the moment.
In the 58s, Rob, so unfortunately about 5 seconds off the pace. Not what you need on that Kawasaki, but what Brent Herron's going to be looking at right now is consolidating and possibly closing the points differential between himself and Lance Isaacs down. He isn't quite close enough to Lance Isaacs to spoil his day, but with 3 laps to go, he has a chance of just closing the gap, which at the beginning of the race was only 4 points.
Brent Herron's also come back from an injury.
Yeah.
And this is probably the worst track on the calendar you want to come back from a wrist injury, because it is so physically demanding. So Brent Herron, you can take whatever painkillers you want. When that adrenaline wears off, and especially now when you're in a lonely race,
exactly,
he must be feeling everything. Everything in that right wrist must be killing him. As we look on track here now, Brandon Good, as I said, the R1 is just able to hold that pace a little bit more than the BMW of Isaacs. Isaacs, unfortunately, now has lost that toe. So I think no commentator's curse or anything. This is our top 3.
Yeah, we're going to have a Yamaha 1, 2, and 3 here with 2.5 laps to go. And Sella's done it all right. Matthew Scholz pushes hard. Unfortunately, has been found wanting, but he certainly is still in with a shot of this championship. It's not over yet. We did have a 17-point deficit to make up, and we are going to definitely go to the final round to wrap it up. But this is great to see, because both of the contenders are 1 and 2 right now. So it kind of just leaves probably about 90. No, it will be 5-point difference. So it'll be a 22-point deficit now into the next race.
And the nice
thing, stay as they are.
The nice thing is, going to Desi, it's unknown. Okay, the guys have been testing there, but in race conditions, we don't know anything could happen. So that's a great way to end this championship. And going into it, 22 points is nothing. A race win is 25. So if something happens to Sella and Scholz wins, he's leading the championship.
The difference is you're going to see down at Desi's, and talking about Desi's as we come into the concluding laps here with 2 to go for Brandon Good and Lance Isaacs. I want to throw something out at you. You've had a chance of racing around the country in different conditions. We're going down into Natal, or the heart of Natal, into Port Shepstone in the middle of September. It's not the hottest time that you'll get down to Natal, but you never ever go down to Natal where it's not hot, and it's much hotter than we are today, even though we've got great track conditions. Remember, we throw in the humidity factor. Now, from a humidity factor, I haven't really spoken about that with Matt, because you never had to deal with it before. You would have dealt with it. How does that affect the ability of the bikes, and what kind of changes with these guys?
It makes a big difference, because especially Desi, it's not a wide flowing track like Red Star.
Yeah.
It's very start-stop, so there's no real open straights for the bikes to get air to cool them down.
Correct.
So overheating issues not only on the motors but also the brakes could play a big part there. With riders, I mean, it's not nice breathing in thick hot air when you're trying to get every single breath you can at that pace. at a physically demanding track like Desi. I haven't been there,
Yep,
but
very
what I've
undulating,
seen,
very undulating.
But yeah, from what I've seen, it's tight and twisty, and it's very undulating. So it really is going to throw a couple of spinners in the works there.
It's probably as physical, but now you go and throw in a few hills and ups and downs as well. That's the difference. I mean, I've only driven a car around. I actually haven't had the opportunity to ride a motorcycle around it just yet. But I'm there next weekend for National Production Cars, and I can tell you it's a very, very difficult track to get right in a car. So it's 10 times more difficult to get right on a motorcycle. We saw lap times of like 1:16 coming out of the testing that they did down there, and at the little club championship that they held. So that's the potential. But then again, I went down for a time attack event there, and we got a Cobra doing 1:16 around there as well. So I'm expecting the lap times to drop probably down into the 12 highs, 13 lows for Super GP.
Either way, it's new territory, and that is what is exciting about it. And we saw last year Durban, I mean, we had 15, 20,000 people come to Durban. Like, we literally couldn't leave our pit. It was amazing. It was at the old airfield. It was a great set. It turned out to be an amazing day, one of the best days I've been involved in motorsport, and Desi's going to be the same. Also throwing the home crowd advantage for Matthew Skoltz. He's going there, that's his home crowd. He wants to impress at his home race. Where Sella, the way he's going now, if he picks up 2 wins today, all he has to do is finish second to Skoltz.
Yeah.
So all the pressure now is on Skoltz, and that mistake in Superpole unfortunately has spoiled what could have been a very good race, but has thrown the ball into Sella's court big time.
Yeah, it's a vital mistake he made in the Super Bowl, no doubt about it. And we're into the second half of the final lap. Down into the hairpin. And no worries whatsoever there for Clinsella.
You just look at Clinsella and he doesn't even look fast. You watch Matthew Skoltz leg out, Brandon Good leg out, and they just look super fast. Sella just looks effortless. No leg out. Like I said, he doesn't have this elbow scraping riding style. He just manages to get the best out of every bike he rides. We've seen him do it over the years on the old Big Bang R1 when it first came out.
Yep.
And he just went to SWAT or PE the first round and he blitzed us all. Myself and Sheridan were on Kawasaki's and we thought, we've got this guy on a Big Bang R1. He's never going to touch us. Went out there and won both races first time out. And he's done it now. He's climbed on this new R1. Skoltz, he gave him a good go last time out, winning both races. I think Sella scratched his head a bit and said, right, got a little bit of work to do. But look what he's done. They've done the work, coming down the back straight for the last time, into the chicane for the last time, and he's going to pick up 25 more points.
Yeah, a job well done, we have to say, for the Neolife. Powered by Yamaha Racing Team. Clinsella, Evil Knievel, as we like to call him, comes through for race 1 victory. Checkered flag comes out for the first time in Super GP. It goes to Sella. A little bit further back there. It's about 8 seconds down the road will be Matthew Skoltz in second place. It's Yamaha's 1 and 2. It's going to be interesting to see whether we can pick up on the battle for third place and whether or not it's still going to remain. There goes Skoltz. He crosses the line, and that is Yamaha 1 and 2. Will Brandon Good still hang on? Yes, he will.
Well done.
It's Yamaha's 1, 2, and 3. Peter Wilkins, stand by for a call from Portland.
And you can see Lance Isaacs just bringing that BMW home, just unable to maintain the pace of the Yamahas out front, unfortunately. Greg's going to make his way down to the podium to catch up with the top 3. I'm going to make my way to Clinsella's pit just now because I know he's going to be getting some nice prize money. So lunch is on him, that is for sure. But great ride from the Neolife Yamaha man. Really went untouched. Didn't get the start he wanted. It was actually Brandon Good who got the whole shot. But Sella played it safe, did what he had to do, get out front, and in the end won comfortably on the Yamaha. Matthew Skoltz didn't get the start he wanted. You saw him having a few fisticuffs with Lance Isaacs into turn 1, and that really destroyed his race because all he had to do for the rest of the race was make passes. He goes and congratulates Clinsella on a race well done, but he knows that he's lost 5 crucial points in the overall championship. But Skoltz must be happy in a way that he managed to not get too seriously hurt in that crash and bring it home. As we go into a replay of the start here, now let's watch Brent Herron on the front row. They got a terrible start. We saw Korshaw come through, and now watch this. Matthew Skoltz goes into turn 1. Oh, and you can see he gets the door firmly shut on him ahead there, and this is highlights of the race, and that was the move ultimately that won the race for Clinton Sella on the inside of Brandon Good. Matthew Skoltz had to put all kinds of moves to get his way up late on the brakes, coming from way back on Lance Isaacs at the last minute, that back end sliding all over the place. Unfortunately, Darren Upton going down, but thankfully we saw him get up unhurt, and they managed to move that bike. It was Neolife Clinsella taking the overall win in race number 1. So great ride there from the Yamaha man.
But here comes, this is an incredible ride from Brandon Good. He's going to take third place. Matthew Skoltz, his teammate, comes in as well. And it's Team MTech Nashua Yamaha who make their way for 2 and 3. And here comes our race winner. And looks like he's a happy man. Yeah, I can just see the show me the money sign being given to Brad Anastas from the Anastas stable. He's going to be happy to pay that money out, I'm sure. Matthew Scott standing here looking, he's looking good, but a little bit despondent, I can see from the body language. Things are looking to get sorted out here for our podium. Incredible race, though. And I'm sure that both Darren Upton and Brent Herron will be looking to get those Kawasaki's back into the hunt, as will Lance Isaacs. They did do some incredible stuff to move up into contention, but not quite up into podium position just yet. So still some work to do on the BMWs. Let's wait and see what's going to happen with that one. So top quality stuff from our Yamaha riders as they come to the podium for the first race of the day. Well, I know that Yamaha have put in a massive effort to get some of the youngsters involved and some guys involved in the sport as well. For the first time out, it's great to see all of them on the background there and looking to support the top three, which is all Yamaha. Let's get them up onto the podium as quickly as we can. From third place and the Nashua MTech Racing team. And a magnificent effort. He just gets better and better, but we know him as Brandon Good. Let's get him up into third place. Second place out of the same stable and a little bit further down the road in Umhlanga, the Umhlanga Rocket, Matthew Scholz. And top of the podium for Neolife, powered by Yamaha. A great effort there from Evil Knievel, Clint Seller. All right, handing out third place. I think it's going to be Quinton from NGL. Yes, he is. There we go. Just having a squiz there. Quint, thanks very much. Some more work for you to do, buddy. That goes to Brandon Good. Let's make a big round of applause there for him, folks. Third place. Second place, Mark from Pirelli. We'll hand that to Matthew Scholz. Only lady clapping here is our podium lady. Jessie Creel going to be handing out to first place. Good to see, it's a bit of a change up for the sport there. Well done, Jess. Let's give them a big round of applause, folks. That's the podium for race 1 for Super GP. Make some noise. Quick photo opportunity with the cap on. Thanks, Matthew. All right, let's get them down here and have a chat to the riders. I want to just get my cameraman sorted out. Which angle do you want? You want him right here. Bran, come and join me down here, buddy. I got to say, first and foremost, probably one of the best starts I've ever seen out of you ever, bud. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, thank you. So I was trying to get a good start there because I know that some of the guys behind me were very, very strong. So I wanted to just get out front as long as I could before Clinton and Matthew eventually came past. And yeah, look, we had a rough last national at East London with the crash. I never really got my head right yesterday either. So to come home with a pole position, a second, and then the finish with a podium, it's amazing. I couldn't ask for anything more.
The bike seems to be working really well, and I think that's just a testament to the amount of effort the team's put in. And the two of you are right there, but I think it's just a matter of having to stick with this man alongside and try and stay with him as much as possible.
Yeah, no, the bike is amazing. I really haven't ridden anything like it. The Yamaha is a perfect race bike. Yeah, no, look, the bike, we all have the same bike here. It's just Clinton's an exceptional rider. Maybe one day we'll be able to keep up with him, but in the meantime, congrats to him. He rode very, very well. Congrats to Matthew for coming from the back. Thank you very much to my team, CJ Auto, the whole Yamaha MTech team. Couldn't have done it without anyone.
Well done. We'll see you for the next one, hopefully. Let's get your teammate in here. Where did he disappear to? The Umhlanga Rocket has disappeared. All right, let's get on to first place, yeah? I'm going to sit next to you because you seem to be a little bit tired after that race, eh, bud?
It's a lot of laps around, Joe. Now, flag-to-flag victory is always the toughest, you know what I mean? You set your own pace, you sort of work your own deal there. But I must say, those are the races that I do enjoy. My last 2 laps are my slowest. But, yeah, to be honest, it's just really a crediment to my team, Alfie and Martin Pretzel, who, there were times where I pitched the front end in, and I just thought, man, if this thing stays with me, I'll be shocked. And I just turned it and grabbed a whole bunch of gas. So, it was really, to be honest, a very special motorbike that I've had today, and that's the reason that I can get to do the lap times I've been doing all weekend.
It's great to see once again at Red Star another 1, 2, and 3 for Yamaha. So that's testament to see how the bike is working. It's working well, and it certainly has the pace. But there was a bit of a turnaround. You didn't see it too much, but the other two riders definitely saw it, coming from Lance on the BM.
You know, I was looking back anyway. You know what I mean? You always got to kind of manage your gap, and I did see him come through. But I must be honest. If you're going to come to Red Star, I think you got to buy yourself an R1 because this thing's unbelievable. I mean, there's times where I just cannot believe what this motorcycle is able to do at the moment.
Oh, we look forward to seeing more of the same and hopefully some more in the second heat. Congratulations. Matthew has eventually come back and Clint's going to drop his trophy on my toe. But needless to say, you see that, eh? It's an unbreakable glass we have here. Matthew Scholz, come and join me, buddy. Second place there. A bit of a turnaround. I know you had an absolute nightmare in Superpole.
Yeah, you know, Superpole, unfortunately, I crashed. I had to start the race last, but my start wasn't too bad. I thought it was going to be worse than that. Yeah, I got stuck behind Lance and them for the first few laps and managed to pass him. Matsila had quite a big gap. I tried to close the turn, but I made one or two errors running wide and nearly high-sided, so I thought that I had to settle for second rather than chuck 20 points away. But yeah, well done to Sidler. He had a really, really good race. One to Brandon too, part of the Nashua M-Tech boys, and yeah, hopefully the second race will come back stronger.
As we see all the guys lined up now on the grid waiting for the riders for race number 2, Super GP action. You really don't want to miss out on this. It's all about Matthew Scholz trying to make up for his Superpole crash. He's got to get the start. Race 1 didn't go to plan for the man, and he's got to get the start to challenge Clint Seller out front, who really ran away with race number 1. And Lance Isaacs, definitely a better ride from the BMW man, but still a bit off the pace of those Yamaha R1s. Johan van der Merwe Jr., he's managed to rest up a bit after his already 3 races that he's done. This will be his final race of the day, so a big well done to the young man there on his Ducati, because that cannot be easy, as we see Lance Isaacs coming up and lining up on the grid. And as we said, he's got the pace to match slightly to the Yamahas at the beginning, but middle and end of the race, he just doesn't have the pace. And just look at those clouds. We've had... it's definitely on its way. It has definitely covered up the sun, and there's a bit of rain in the air for sure as the Neolife team wait for their number 1 rider, Clint Seller, to line up on the... Greg has rejoined me, and I've got a nice burry roll waiting for Greg, but he can't have it now.
I'll have to wait till the end of the race, buddy. It's a nice burry roll.
I did give you a cookie as well, but I tried that.
Oh, nice, eh? Nice one. Oh, that's
Sorry,
how it plays,
mate.
eh? That's how it plays. I actually want to ask you a favor, if you don't mind, just to pass your cans over to the man sitting on my left-hand side here, because I want to have a quick chat with him. I asked him to come along earlier on. We didn't get quite the opportunity to. But in the commentary booth with me, of course, is the man behind the Super GP Champions Trophy, Stephen Watson. Good to see you, boss man. But what I got to say to you is, what an incredible turnout with the turnaround with Bots, Super M and Masters coming onto this in the closing stages. Bodes well for 2016.
Absolutely. It fits right within our plans. If we go all the way back to the beginning when we said we wanted to bring all the motorcycle racing fraternities together and have one big festive weekend. We struggled to get the Bots guys here originally, and they've come on board, and we're looking very closely at running both the Nationals and Northern Regions Championship as gas sports next year and consolidating them into one big weekend. And we're really excited about that. There's still a bit of work to do, working hard with MSA, but we've engaged a lot of the competitors. And there's a lot of excitement. You know, the bike guys like to race. They like to have their own race weekend. And we need to get the numbers up. And if we can mix all the classes and get some consolidation across the rules, the number of categories, then the sport really has a good chance to turn around.
We're looking at a slightly smaller grid than what we've seen all season long, but of course it is indicative of the times and the end of the season when budgets are starting to be played with a little bit. They're already starting to plan. We had Lance Isaacs bringing a big point up at Riders Briefing this morning saying, listen, what are the changes? What are the rules for next year? I know you guys are working very hard with MSA to get that all right, but if you take today into account and the way things went with the Super M combined with Bots and Masters, a championship wrapped up in the Super Juniors. That's something that you were looking forward to doing. Yes, indeed, it's all part and parcel of what we're looking forward to in 2016.
Absolutely, and I think one of the important things is for us to try and build that staircase. So we introduced Super Juniors a year ahead of when we were supposed to, and the fruits are already paying. You know, youngsters can start to see that I can go from regional racing on a 150 or 250cc to the 390s, and KTM are really supporting that, and it's great to have them on board. And you can see that progression, 390s to 600s, and then up to the big Super GPs. We've got to create that staircase. And that's the important part of it. And, you know, we're hitting the silly season now. Everyone's talking about rules. Rules are always a big debate. And we've managed to be able to stabilize them for 2 years. We were committing to a 3-year plan. And that's it. You know, this turnaround strategy is going to take quite a few years to do. And we're into year 2. My prediction is by year 4 it will be absolutely humming.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. The kind of racing we've seen, even with the small fields, has been phenomenal. Some of the best you see in the world. I mean, Rob's been here for the very first time. He's been commenting on the fact that he hasn't seen racing like this in a long, long time, which is what SuperGP is all about.
Absolutely, man. We just got to keep growing it, and we've hit, I think, the lowest part with weak numbers in the primary class, SuperGP. But we can see how it's going to build, and if we create that staircase, we're going to get riders. I mean, the next riders to take on Isaacs and Sellers and these boys are going to come from 600s. And the next 600 riders are going to come from the Super Juniors.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, we also want to encourage the old competitors to come back, really beef up the Masters Championship in these categories, so that the guys who are kind of yesterday's heroes have got a chance to still play. And I think it's coming together, and it's been a long time coming, and hopefully we keep chipping away with it. We've got a lot of sponsor interest for next year, so looking really promising.
Oh, that's just fantastic. Thank you so much for coming to join us here in the booth. We're about to kick off with the final race of the day. Rob's going to come back onto mic with us. Thanks, Stephen. And I look forward to hearing all the news, because hopefully we're going to be some of the first guys told about it. By the time we get down to Daisy's Raceway, a couple of things are going to be in place, and wow. That's exciting times for motorcycle racing in this country. You're a happy man, I can see,
Greg.
just from the comments.
Oh, Greg, it's amazing. The showcase that these guys put on here is absolutely amazing. You know, I've been to a lot of World Superbike and MotoGP events, and it has that feel to it. You got the big race trucks, the NASA's truck, the pit setups, from the big factory teams to the smaller guys are 100% professional. They've all done everything they can to look professional. A professional series. You've got the best riders in South Africa, bar none, on display here. Simple as that, and they've shown it with the lap times that these guys are doing and the racing that we've seen today. You will not get better racing anywhere else in the country.
Yeah, it's exactly what it's all about, bringing the cream of the crop to the front end and showing not only South Africa but the world, with our live streaming aspect, possibilities of the television deal coming back in. I know that big negotiations are happening in the background, so just stand by. Make sure you come and join us on Facebook. Join up on the SuperGP Facebook page, on Instagram, and of course onto anything that's happening out on this world of social media. There's a big website push as well, but all that incident and accidents and anything newsworthy will be out there. Speaking of newsworthy, let's find out who's going to make the news now in race number 2.
Clint Seller is the man to beat. He is on that pole position once again. Matthew Skolch, you can see on the far left there. He's got all the work to do if he wants to take any chance of the championship. Going into Desi, he really has to do something about Clint Seller, and it's not a great start at all from Matthew Skolch. At the back there, we saw Goody get a whole shot in race 1. He's not going to do it, but look at Lance Isaacs up into second place on the BMW. Better start also from Brent Herron, and unfortunately, Darren Upton has not made the grid for race number 2.
Now, they were working hard down at the RSA pit, and I know that the man we just spoken to, Stephen Watson, actually had a bit of a chat with Yami to see whether Darren was going to make it back or not. Unfortunately, as you said, Rob, he's not there, so it's the lone Kawasaki of Herron in 4th place that has to go fighting with the Yamahas and BMWs that are left out there. And let's not fail to mention the Ducati of Jan van der Merwe Jr.
The fittest man in the world at the
Yeah,
moment.
he's like Iron Man van der Merwe.
Matthew Skolch is unfortunately just not what he wanted to see. He's behind Brent Herron, tried to make the move. Herron managed to hold him off, and he's going on the brakes on Brent Herron. He's made it stick there, but he's got his teammate that he has to avoid. And
He has to avoid Herron as well. Wow, that was close.
Brent Herron let go of the brakes and just cut it across the nose, but Clint Seller is out front with Lance and Brandon Good with his leg out. I wonder what that was all about. Maybe also a little bit of cramp like we saw earlier from Adolf Borsov, but it's Isaacs in second, and it is that man, Clint Seller. This is the last thing that Matthew Skolch wanted to see, was Seller out front already opening a gap.
And him sitting still in 5th place by the time they get onto the back straight. He might be able to use the, well, I'm not going to say additional power, because the Kawasaki that Herron is on is very quick. And, take that, Brandon Good. Sure, what a move there from Brent Herron, just bombing up the inside. I think Brandon Good thought that was Skolzy.
Yeah, I think maybe he was trying to let him through to say, right, you go after.
Comes back and he says, no. Oh, there you go.
How's the power of that R1? That's passing a ZX-10. So now Brandon Good has got Matthew Skolch on his tail. So I wonder if he'll hear that bike now and let his teammate through to chase down Isaacs and Seller.
Hear the difference there between the two machines, that's for sure. As they come down, oh, there you go, foot out. Is he going to line through? Yes, he just does. Just enough. In fact, you know why it was just enough? It was just enough so that Herron couldn't go with him.
Yes.
He wasn't going to allow the Kawasaki to capitalize on the open door and allows his teammate through. They know the championship is between Seller and Skolch, so a bit of team orders, I think, might have been brought into play there. It's not a bad option at this point in the season. Brandon Good knows he can't run with the same kind of pace as Scholzy, and now Scholz has got to go and find some kind of Umhlanga rocket power to get through on Isaacs.
Scholz has got nothing to lose here.
Yeah.
He really has to put his head down. He's got absolutely nothing to lose. It's I don't want to say win or bin because I hate using that term, but he's got to lay all his cards out there. He's got to get past Isaacs. We saw him in race 1 on the brakes here. He's got to get past him, and he's got to hunt down Sella, who's already got over a second lead. But watch the Scholz on the brakes. Yep, he's made the move. He's going to lock it up slightly, gets in there, and now he's going to have to put down his head and really put in a couple of 52s maybe, or even 51s. We might even see 51s to close down on Clint Sella.
Yeah, some stonker laps about to come out for Matthew Scholz, that is for sure. And looking at our timing monitor, we've had great fun and games. They've got the timing monitor all sorted out, but now it's just told me that we're running out of battery power on the laptop. So hopefully we've got enough battery to get us through this race.
You can't blame it with the racing action that we've had so far today. And a better ride there from Nick Kershaw as well. He also had problems. We were talking about the brake problems for all the BMWs in all the categories today. Jacques van Veenkart, Lance was talking about it. Nick Kershaw faded in race 1. So maybe with the cooler conditions, hopefully that'll play into the favor of the BMWs. But at the moment, look at the Scholz has already pulled away, and I want to keep an eye on that gap between Scholz and Sella, because the next 5 laps are really going to make a tell on whether Scholz can close down on Clint Sella or not. Isaacs is in 3rd. Brandon Good. It's going to be hard to pass Isaacs, but much better start from Brent Herron and much better start from Nick Kershaw.
It's a nice little battle here actually between these riders. They're not holding anything back here for the second race, and of course they don't have to, because if we look at the way things stand, Scholz has got to do it all, as we've mentioned right from the word go. He's got to go out there and catch and pass and beat Clint Sella. Looking at the way things ended up on race number 1, it's about a 26 point deficit that he's got to play around with. So he'll probably only lose 5 points if he stays as he is right now. So 31 points going into the final round with 50 up for grabs. Still very much wide open, but a massive turnaround here for Lance Isaacs in 3rd place, trying to keep out Brandon Good. Scholz onto the dirt, bud.
You do not want to be, you flat out in 4th gear at that point that he just hit the grass. So I don't know, but Brandon Good not looking as comfortable as he did in race 1. He's already behind Lance Isaacs. He's got Brent Herron all over the back of him. So I don't know, they've put new tyres, new Pirellis have been fitted to all the bikes for this race, and I wonder if Brandon Good's just taking his time to settle in. We know how good the Yamaha is. We know it gets better in the races, whereas the BMW fades, so he's got that to still come. But at the moment, not matching the pace as he did in race number 1.
It's close stuff here between BMW, Yamaha and Kawasaki. 3 manufacturers fighting for 3rd place. Near Life powered by Yamaha machine up front. The second of the MTech Nashua Yamahas in 2nd place. And then this battle. R1 versus ZX10 versus S1000RR. Incredible stuff as they head down the N12 Portable Shade Highway.
The fastest racers in South Africa by far are putting on a great display here. And Brandon Good looks like he's suffering on the brakes, but definitely not able to brake as late as Isaacs and Brent Herron behind him. So I wonder what if he's just struggling with a little bit of front end setup there, that he looks like he's got the corner speed still sorted, but he definitely doesn't have the brakes of Isaacs and Herron just behind him. Much better ride from Herron. He got a much better start in race number 2. Race number 1 was pretty much no man's land for the entire race, and that wrist must have been hurting. Race number 2 now, maybe it's like in the 600s, where the cooler conditions have played into the hands of the BMs and the Kawasaki's, which are a lot closer to Brandon Good's Yamaha.
2.8 second deficit on the last pass there, so Scholzy's got some work still to do. But looking at the deficit there, only 0.2 of a second between Isaacs, 0.9 of a second between Isaacs and Herron. So less than a second between those 3. And in fact, just in the background, Kershaw not too far off. He's bridged the gap ever so slightly. What about Jan van der Merwe Jr.? He's going to be taking the rookie of the day because he is the only rookie in the class. He's just got to finish up, and after 4 races, a well-deserved rookie of the day.
And I'm going to go up into Boksburg, buy him a Burger King, and bring it back for him because he deserves it.
That sounds like a plan. That sounds like a plan.
Oh, I can't. I didn't get my R2.50 from the 600 race.
Oh, well, that's it. It's all done now. All done and dusted, unfortunately, there. Portman's out of pocket. All right, so if they stay as they are right now, we are looking at 18-point deficit. But to add in the points on the racing, it's going to go to, pretty close into the final round. I'm going to do the mathematics, and I can tell you it's not going to be a pretty sight heading into the final round.
I love that shot there. It really sets the mood. The sun is now setting and the clouds are over and it's got that beautiful haze to it. Really a fitting ending to a great day's racing here. Race number 2 action of the Super GPs. Brandon Good has closed that gap on Lance Isaacs now. So that's the battle for third place on track, and Brandon Good will be looking to make it yet another Yamaha 1-2-3 as we saw in race number 1 and pick up more valuable championship points for Brandon Good. Remember, he had that massive crash in East London that saw him miss the race. He only just recovered, broken ribs. He only just recovered from that now. So this is a great performance by Brandon Good.
Rob, I'm just looking at our little Pirelli flag in front of our office here, buddy, and it has turned towards us. And if you look across the skyline as the riders head into turn 2, that rain is still on the horizon, so possibility of some wetness at the end here. I don't know if it's going to catch the riders out in terms of racing, but we may end the podium under wet conditions and have to change that up. I've done the calculations. If they stay as they are, guess what number points they're going to be between 1 and 2 heading into the final round. Not 86.
No,
but that other very special
either
number.
86 or 32.
Yeah, 27 is the one.
Oh, yeah, 27 points. Couldn't have been better. So it's still wide open then.
Yeah,
with
for sure.
50 points on the table. Anything could happen. Selo could have a DNF, a bike mechanical problem, and Scholz could win. This round has played into the favor of Selo, as it did out in East London.
Correct.
But the race meeting before that, Red Star, Matthew Scholz took the double and took good points off Glenn Sela. So it's still a lot to play for. Either way, I'll put my house on it that a Yamaha will win the championship.
Yeah, I'm thinking you might just get yourself another house there, buddy. Isaacs, though, has some problems because, remember, he didn't have a great outing in the first one, and Brent Herron had a slightly better one than him. Herron is just behind him and behind the Yamaha that's, of course, right on his tailpiece there. So in terms of third place in this championship, Brent Herron and Isaacs are not done yet. They've got some fighting to do heading into the final round, and in fact, heading to the checkered flag here for race 2.
Brent Herron, a much better rider. He's right there with the 2. He was nowhere near these 2 riders in race number 1, so much better ride from the Kawasaki man there. Looking styling in his new Revit leathers. Very nice. Parabolica Motorsport helping him out there with the set of leathers. But look at Isaacs down that back straight. He really does pull on the brakes, but Good just closes up in corner speed and corner exit. So Isaacs has got the setup under brakes, but he just doesn't have the mid-corner speed. And getting on the gas, you could see that BMW, all kinds of out of shape.
Yeah, across the line one more time, and that is, of course, coming into the sort of 3/4 mark. I'm trying to pick up on timing when it is not giving us laps done. But we certainly are having some fun and games out there. With Sela getting into the 158 zeros, 159 zeros from Isaacs. Brandon Good on the 459 698s, and Scholz out there in the 59.8. So as they're running right now, Clint Sela from Matthew Scholz, and of course Lance Isaacs in third place.
Well, Sela has just increased his lead. It's 3.5 seconds now over Matthew Scholz. So Scholz really, even if he did have the start, I don't even know if he'd be able to match the pace of Sela. Sela has looked untouchable this weekend. Scholz, throughout the practice session and indeed in qualifying, was right up there, but unfortunately made the mistake in Superpole, which really ruined his day. But saying that, he's going to pick up 2 second places, lose 10 points to Sela, but he's going to keep him in the championship hut going into Desi Raceway, his home track. So really, it's all to play for going into Desi. And like I said earlier, really, if you are down in Durban, you've got to get down there. I think I might even hop on my bicycle and cycle out there.
I think that's not a bad idea. Huh? I might just join you because I just got a new bike as well, so that's not a bad plan. Yeah, let's do a little trip on that one. All right, Clint Sela is the man to beat right now. 52 fives out of him, but a 53 dead out of Matthew Scholz is his personal best for this lap and for this race. So he's got the work cut out for him. It's last time out, it was 6.184 to Isaacs. It's now 9.734 to Isaac. So he's opened up 3 second margin. He's only got 3.5 seconds to close down on Sela. And the way that he's riding, the body language tells me he's still up for it.
The question now is, can Isaacs and that BMW of his hold off the challenge of Brandon Good? We know how good the R1 gets deeper into the race, whereas the BMW does struggle. So we're going to have to wait and see if Isaacs can hold the challenge. If there's one man you would want on your bike, it's Lance Isaacs. He's got all the experience in the world, so if there's one man that can do it, it is Lance Isaacs. But he hasn't looked happy all weekend. He's finished off the podium yet again, and him or BMW do not want that. Ben Herron is now mounting a serious challenge onto Brandon Good, who just does not look comfortable in this race.
I can tell you that Lance Isaacs just wants to get on the podium. If the big boss lady from BMW Motorrad is still here, Cora Forsman, she'll definitely want her rider on the podium, even if it is on the third step. It's a great way to finish up a good weekend's racing, but it's not done just yet because Brandon Good and Brent Herron still have a chance of getting up onto that podium as well.
Sella has now pulled it out to 4.2 seconds. So, barring any kind of bad luck, Clint Sella is going to pick up yet another double win, and really on his way to his 4th consecutive championship. Just been the man to beat the last couple of years in the 600 and the 1000 cc. He's been Mr. Consistent. We see crashes from him, but not really when it counts. When it counts, he picks up either the win or on the podium, and he just picks up points after points after points. And that is why he's managed to pick up 4 titles potentially in a row.
As we say, it's not one on your best day, it's one on your worst day. And his potential to pick up motorcycles and pick himself up after bad luck is what's kept him in the hunt for a possible 4th championship in a row. The sun is just starting to drop, and that's why we call this place Red Star, because the Red Star is in the sky, and you can see magnificent shots coming out of our cameras now with this low sun and potential rain on the horizon too.
Talking about the Red Star, the facilities here are just absolutely amazing.
Top class.
From the canteen to the toilets, just Jacques and his team just put on such an amazing event here every time, whether it be Northern Regions, Nationals, an amazing track to come to, whichever way you go around. The 24-hour later on the year, that's going to be another spectacle. Unfortunately, we missed out last year on it, but this year it's back, so get your entries in, and that's going to be another fun race to watch.
Yeah, of course, there's still plenty of action to come here. We've got the final of the Northern Regions Championship to be wrapped up here at Red Star Raceway. 10. Oh, Isaacs, what are you doing, bud? Well, Isaac's starting to feel the effects now of this long race. It's a 14-lapper. We're at the halfway stage, and the back tire of Isaac's is starting to feel some pressure.
Greg, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not a huge fan of electronic suspension that is on that BMW. I just think it just takes the capability out of the rider. I want the bike to do certain things, and that BMW with an electronic suspension just takes that feel away. What BMW have done with that S1000RR is made it perfect for their potential target market, which is the track day rider. The bike kind of assists them, but for a guy like Lance who wants to ride the bike a certain way, it just takes that control out of his hands a bit, and you can see that now. He wants to get the rear wheel sliding into turns. He wants a little bit more play out of that BM, and at the moment it's just not giving it to him.
Well, I can tell you what is happening right now is Brandon Good is smelling some blood in the water, and it's got a black swan taste to it.
And Heron.
And Heron is there going, yeah, I think I might just have a bite of that too. Because they are now both on the tailpiece and looking for a way through. Let's have a look at this. Isaac's coming out of turn 1, heading onto that little short straight to turn 2. There's the back end. Stepping out, sits up, looks back. What went wrong there? That's not what I want the bike to do, as you said. And now has to try and fight the bike and the 2 riders behind him. So it's a bit of a difficult task now for Lance Isaacs.
And just not looking completely comfortable. He's got a very upright, very rigid style on that bike. He just doesn't look as happy as we have seen him in previous years. Even on last year's bike. I mean, he challenged week in, week out. And this year, unfortunately, just hasn't come to grips with that new bike just yet. At the same time, he's had 3 new fast Yamahas to contend with, and a very fast man on a Kawasaki and Brent Heron. So it's just not easy. It's not like he's out there running around and doing terrible lap times, and he's competing against South Africa's best. Unfortunately, at the moment, South Africa's best are also on good motorcycles, and that's the biggest difference.
Well, it's a bit of a change-up that he has to deal with. It's all part and parcel of the racing. 52.4 is the best lap we've seen out of Kinsella, but he's now down into the 53.2s, 53.4s out of Skolty, and 56s out of both Isaacs and Goody, and in fact out of Brent Heron as well. Nice to see Nicholas Kershaw still able to do 55.4s. He was trying to close in, but I think that's he's realizing that this little battle we're watching on screen right now is starting to heat up, and if he gets close enough, something goes wrong, there's a chance for him to pounce.
The only thing I can see with Brandon Good as well is he's not using all the track. He's coming out of the turns and staying in the middle of the track for a lot of the corners. So instead of opening up the track to himself, he really is narrowing the track. So I think he needs to maybe look at that, watch his footage afterwards and say, I'm riding in the middle of the track. If you look there, it almost looked like he was lining a pass on Isaac. It was never going to happen. But he's just making the corner so that bit more tighter for himself, rather than running the wide swooping lines that we see Sella and Skoltz run. So it's something he needs to look at, and at the same time saying that he's got Isaacs in front of him doing that, who's riding defensive. So maybe that's just catching his eye and putting him off his game, because Nick Kershaw now, if you look behind, he's starting to close on these guys. It's horrible to say, and but it's the truth, that Lance Isaacs is now a sitting duck. He's almost holding these guys up.
I was about to say, it looks like he's actually holding both the Yamaha and the Kawasaki up, and not allowing them a chance to get away from the second BMW who's starting to close in. So Black Swan Energy BMW onto... and that's enough. That'll be enough for the Yamaha to go past. Or will it? Yeah, he's got past. There you go. Brandon Good sneaks up and watch for the foot out so he can try and keep the rider behind him at bay. He does just that. And into Discover Digital Chicane, we have a new man in third place. And it's once again Yamaha 1, 2, and 3 into this race. Isaac's under pressure now from Harron. Harron, as I said, as soon as he smelt that blood in the water, and he's going to have a big bite of the opportunity here. Not quite close enough, but certainly now will look to take on his good friend Lance Isaacs and show him the way around Red Star.
Isaacs is literally a sitting duck. He is manhandling that BMW all over the track, but unfortunately has no answer to the rest of the field. Harron, I think it's a matter of time before he makes the move. Isaacs has just got no confidence in that back tire now. Every time he wants to get on the gas, that BMW is just kicking him out of the seat. And like I said, the R1 of Brandon Good only getting better.
Now, you say sitting duck, I'm going to say a sitting swan, because the Black Swan energy machine is not working the way that Lance Isaac wants it to. Here comes Harron. A much better line out of Harron. Watch the drive now. He'll be able to get on the... I say that he wants to try and get on the power earlier. He tried to, and it just cost him slightly, so he'll have to think about it somewhere else on the circuit. We've got 9 completed. We're going into complete lap number 10, so 4.5 to go.
Isaacs runs a little bit wider. You could see him just looking all over his shoulder. He knows Harron's there. His pit board would have told him +0, but there's just nothing he can do. He's riding the bike as hard as he can, but there's just no play left in that BMW at the moment. Brandon Good is now pulled. He's stretched away from them. And this is Lance Isaacs again coming onto the back straight. You could see him asking for power. And that look at the suspension just working overtime. And then the tire starts letting go. Let's go. And it's just on a bucking Bronco there.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what cost him. And there we see heading up the back straight away now, Brandon Good getting past. Harron tried to go with, but just wasn't close enough.
And Brandon Good looks like his foot was hanging off. I thought he had scraped his foot peg away or something, but it's back on there now, so all good. But yeah, definitely Isaacs has got Harron right on his tail, and Harron deep on the brakes there. And look at that, Nick Kershaw is coming, and he's on the 2014 spec BMW. So he doesn't have electronic suspension that Lance Isaacs' 2015 bike does. So maybe his bike's starting to feel a bit better. Maybe the electronic suspension on Isaacs just not adjusting itself to the way Isaacs is trying to ride. Remember, those Pirellis are wearing down slightly, so that suspension's got to start giving. And maybe Kershaw, you could see Kershaw visibly is closing in every corner.
Yeah, Kershaw only a second off as they crossed the line that time and doing a 54.3 as opposed to the 55.2 and 55.4. So almost a second and a half quicker on that last lap than Isaacs and Harron. Harron's being held up. There's no doubt about it. Harron's looking for a chance to get through, but just can't find a way. He's going to have to go because Kershaw's now there.
And it's looking good for a Yamaha 123 again. And Clint Seller said when you interviewed him that there's no better bike than the R1 around here. And the proof is in the pudding. And so far, they've proved that today.
100%. And in fact, they proved it the last time out as well. Remember, we had an all Yamaha podium at the last round at the Red Star Raceway, which is 2 rounds of the championship back. We went to East London just after the Red Star. And then we came back here to go the other way around. Now, coming into this part of the circuit, this is where the Kawasaki just has a little bit of an edge, and you can see visibly closing up right up the exhaust pipe and looking for a way through.
Lance is even struggling. He's got no lean angle going whatsoever. He's really struggling to turn that bike. Look at Harron almost running into the back of Isaacs, who really is like parking the bus, and Kershaw has closed in big time. So Harron has got to get past Isaacs, otherwise he's going to have another BMW bombing him on the inside. But this is where Isaacs really struggles. So Harron can maybe get a good drive onto the back straight. Slipstream, we know that ZX10 matches the BMW for outright horsepower, and then do him on the brakes at the end of the straight.
Oh, I don't think he's going to be able to outride the BMW behind him. He's the meat and the sandwich between the two BMs on track. A 2015 model and a 2014 model. It's a 2015 ZX10 that he is on, and looking for a chance to beat both of these BMWs. Kershaw now, he's probably the wild card here. Out of nowhere, manages to close the gap, and now realizes a possibility of him getting up into 4th place, which will keep him in the hunt for a top 5 overall.
This man, Clint Seller, now has a 7.1 second advantage out front. It's just a superhuman effort from Seller at the moment. Hasn't put a foot wrong all weekend and sets lap time after lap time after lap time. And he just looks so smooth. He's hitting the lines he wants to. Whereas you look at Isaacs, completely different boat. Upright on the bike, can't turn the bike, gets on the gas, the bike fights him. Completely different riding style. The bike wheeling there. Isaacs has got some work to do on that bike heading into Desi.
Yeah, definitely if he wants to finish in 3rd place in this championship. Brent Harron is certainly going to be working hard with R&D to get that bike sorted for Desi's Raceway. And of course, I'm sure that Rob Holder's going to be working hard with Kershaw to find something special for the package down at Port Shepstone in a few weeks' time. It's just over a month away, or in fact just under a month away, I should say, on the 19th of September that we head to Desi's Raceway for the final round of the Diode SuperGP Champions Trophy.
Brent Herron is not liking this. He really is being held up, and he just doesn't have the pace of the BMW down the straights. So he loses so much time down the straights and then just doesn't have the confidence to stick it on the inside, or is too far back. I mean, look, Brandon Good passed Isaac 3-4 laps ago, and look at the gap he's pulled. Herron, I think, has the same pace to run as Good, but he just cannot get past the BMW man. Isaac's riding a very clever race in making himself very defensive. He's not allowing Herron. As I say that, Herron has to put that move on, and that was a great move. But now watch the BMW definitely has the horsepower advantage down the back straight.
If he can get the drive. He's got good drive. Let's see if he's able to do it. Look at Herron go defensive almost instantaneously as they go down there. Both the BMs go past the Kawasaki. Underpowered, that Kawasaki is battling a little bit here today. And yes, Isaacs returns the favor, and Kershaw says, I'll go with you. If you're going to open up a door like that, I'll take it. Thank you very much.
I think Kershaw will have an easier time of getting past Isaacs because he's on a similar horsepower. Whereas Herron, you can see, is clearly battling with horsepower. He doesn't have the horsepower. There's only 2 laps remaining, and Kershaw really, he's planned this to perfection. He was nowhere a couple of laps ago, and now he's on for a potential 4th position.
Yeah, good run here from Nicholas Kershaw, the Tsunami Beach Bike BMW. And I really got to say they've put in a good effort there. Oh, there it is. Oh, thanks for coming. Didn't wait too long. It only took him 2 corners to get it sorted. Once he got past on Herron, he got past on Isaacs 2 corners later.
Well, that was a great move. We've seen that so many times today, actually, where the guys line up turn 2. They kind of just stick it on the inside because you really need to hold it right to flick it left for turn 3. But if a guy sticks on the inside of there's nothing you can do. You've got to give up the position and the line. That's what Isaacs had to do. So maybe Herron's looking at that. The bad thing for Herron is he can't get close enough. As soon as he gets close enough, they head to the straight, and the BMW just pulls away. Whereas Kershaw had the advantage of that little bit extra power to line that move up.
I'm just looking at Brandon Good on the last run. He got a 54.9, 55.2 out of Kershaw. Should still be enough to keep Brandon Good in potential. Oh, there we go. Isaacs. That's Isaac saying, okay,
Submission.
You can have this. Yeah, he's just submitted to that one. He realizes that he's not going to be able to keep Herron out. And in fact, with Herron getting through, look at that, already pulled 7 bike lengths.
It's just so sad to see Isaac actually like this. He's such a confident guy, and you can just see the confidence has been drained out of him. You can really see in his riding position, his riding posture, that he's a defeated man in a way. And you know what they have to do to go down to Desi, but it's really their last chance for the year to get that bike sorted.
Well, let's hope they can do something, that's for sure, as they head into the final round. Here you can see replay. This is the move from Nicholas Kershaw to move up to 4th place. The Tsunami Beach Bar machine sneaking up there. S1000RR outgunning its 2015 counterpart with Isaacs on board on the Black Swan Energy BMW. And that's how you take 4th place away. And within 2 corners, another dejected maneuver as Herron was able to do the same thing. So we are on to in fact, I think we're on to our last lap, if I'm not mistaken. I'm waiting to see if the checkered flag. No, we got 1 to go. It is on the last lap, yeah. Last lap, and Clint Seller onto the short straight for the final time.
Oh, listen to the sound of that Yamaha. It's just that bellow, that absolute raw bellow of that machine is just a beautiful thing to hear. And Yamaha wanted to bring out a machine this year that would dominate, and they've done that so far in our championship for sure. The Yamaha came in, and straight away from the word go at Cape Town where they were launched, they were right on the pace. After that, they did a couple of little screw turning, and now look at it, they are unstoppable. And Matthew Scalz, going into Desi, his home track, will want to be a lot closer to Clint Seller than he has been this weekend.
He has to be. Remember, we're going to go in with 27-point deficit because that's how they're going to finish up here. If all goes according to plan, and it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. 25 points going to this man, 20 to Scalzi, which will mean it's 231 versus 204. 27 points in it between Scalz and Seller. Heading to Matthew Scalz's potential home round, even though he's from Umhlanga Rocks in the north of KwaZulu-Natal. We're heading to the south of KwaZulu-Natal and Port Shepstone, the Desi's Raceway, on the 19th of September.
I would just love to see Clint Seller go do a race overseas. I think he's in that vein of form at the moment where nothing can stop him. Put him on a World Superstock machine or a World Superbike machine, and he will do the job. As he's done here, the checkered flag, he's going to do the money. He's going to look for Brad Anastas and say, Brad, you owe me some time, Chano.
Show me the money, Brad Anastas. Awesome effort there from Evil Knievel. 2nd place goes to Matthew Scalz, and it looks like Brandon Good is going to finish up in 3rd place, making it Yamaha's 1, 2, and 3. Rookie of the day to our Ducati-mounted rider. And in fact, Brandon Good under pressure right at the closing stages. Yeah, I was about to say Rookie of the day going to Van der Merwe Jr. Good had to fight for that 3rd spot. And well done, Nicholas Kershaw. Great turnaround there at the end. Just a little bit too little, too late.
I can't believe that from Nick Kershaw. He was a good 2-3 seconds behind Brandon Good going into that last lap, and he managed to close in on it. But Brandon Good, a good day at the office for the man, excuse the pun, but he qualified second on the grid for both races after Super Pole, and he's picked up 2 podium positions. So that's done his championship chances no harm whatsoever, trying to look to close down on the field. And this is the highlights of race number 1. And just look, Clint Seller. This is Clint Seller coming over the line. Just one very happy rider there. Takes a bow. Thanks his Neo Life Yamaha team very much for an awesome bike. He said earlier on he's got the package to do what he wants with that bike. He can stick that front end exactly how he wants to, and it sticks. So big up to Martin Petzold and Alfie and Brad Anassis from the Neo Life Yamaha team for putting on and giving Clint Seller a bike that he can do exactly what he wants to with. Matthew Scholz and Brandon Good from the MTech Nashua Racing Yamaha team, more good points for them, but unfortunately still just lacking a little bit of pace behind the Neo Life bike. But going into Desi, they are really going to look to upstage the Apple Cart. As they've been there, they've done the testing, they've got some good data from the track, so it's really going to be all to play for down there. And Brandon Good and Matthew Scholz will look to get one over the Neo Life Yamaha rider. Johan van der Merwe Jr. comes across the line, definitely has to have one of the rides of the day. It's his 4th race of the day, so he's completed, I don't even know how many, over 30 laps, 40, 50 laps even of racing for that man. So I think he deserves a beer at the end of the day. Clint Seller, number 1, yep, he's going for that 4th title in a row. And heading into Desi, it really is all in his favor. He's got the points he needed today. Another double win. He's going to come into the pits, and he's going to have one thing to say to his team manager, Brad Anassis. He's going to give him his bank details and say, I want the money deposited into my account first thing Monday morning. Thank you very much. A double win for the Neo Life Yamaha rider, and Clint Seller on track for a 4th title, a 4th South African title in a row. Matthew Scholz, a good ride. He had a disappointing Super Pole. We saw him crash. He managed to come from the back of the grid to pick up 2 second places. That's not what he wanted. He wanted to be a lot closer to this man, and I'm sure heading into Desi, he'll find the pace that he needs. There's no doubt about it. Matthew Scholz is a world-class rider. He's been there and done that and got the t-shirt, so we will see the man bounce back. Brandon Good, most improved rider of the day, hasn't been on the podium consistently this year, but picked up 2 podium finishes, and that's right where he'll want to be heading into Desi. And he will want to go to Desi and pick up more podium finishes for himself and the Nashua MTech team. A big thanks to everyone for coming out and supporting. It really has been nothing but world class. There we go. Brad Anassis, you owe me some Tom China. That's exactly what Clint Seller was saying. Greg Maloney is down in Park Ferme with the top 3 and our rookie of the day. So we're going to head over to him down there.
Fantastic, Rob. Thanks so much. A great effort from your side today as well. Thanks for stepping in and holding the fort there for Matt Smith, who wasn't able to make it out today. But great effort once again from all 3 of these Yamaha mounted riders. It's another triple podium for Yamaha. You're going to be happy about that. But I can tell you the championship is not done just yet. There's about 27 points in it. And heading to Desi's Raceway on the 19th of September, we are going to be in for an epic, epic battle to finalize the second running of the SuperGP Champions Trophy. Let's get them up on the podium as soon as we can, because we are running out of time here, guys. The rain is coming, so I don't want to go too quickly and too far away. So as soon as Brandon Good is good to go, let's get his cap on. And 3rd place today in race 2 for the MTech Nashua Racing Yamaha team. Let's hear it for Brandon Good. Second place out of the same stable, and a great effort from him. Fortunately, couldn't run with the man at the front, but he put in a valiant effort nonetheless. All the way from Umhlanga, the Umhlanga Rocket, Matthew Scholz. And once again, at the top of the podium, out of the Neo Life powered by Yamaha race team, it's Evil Knievel himself, Clinton Seller. Third place going to be handed to Brandon Good by Mr. Stephen Watson from Gas Sports. Second place by Alan Winstanley from ER24, our official medical team. That goes to Matthew Scholz. First place is by Mark from Pirelli. He's going to hand that out to Evil Knievel, Clint Seller. And then we're going to get the Rookie of the Day up on the podium as well. I don't know where Johan van der Merwe Jr. disappeared to, but if anybody sees him, we need to get him here as quickly as possible. So, Junior, if you can hear me, just take a jog. The fittest man on the podium today, that is for sure. 4 races on the day, ladies and gents. Let's make some noise for your Rookie of the Day, Johan van der Merwe Jr. And he'll get the trophy courtesy of Mr. Stephen Watson from Gas Sports. Okay, they came with the champagne a bit early. That wasn't quite the plan. We do have to get the manufacturer up there as well, gentlemen, so give me a few seconds. Mr. Brad Anastas, are you going to represent Yamaha? I'm sure you'd love to do that. Thank you so much, sir. Brad, you can join your man on top. Where did Brandon Good go? You need to come back on the podium just so we can get the manufacturer's award done as well. Tim Cook from Gas Sports will hand that one out. Thank you so much. Congratulations once again to a 1, 2, 3 for Yamaha and to all the riders for an awesome effort. All right, are you ready now? Do you want to have a proper one? Let's go. Champagne in the house. How they all listened and stayed on the podium for a change. Thanks so much. Right, let's get a quick interview here. First and foremost with our Rookie of the Day. Dude, you've had a busy day in the saddle, but what a way to finish things up here on the penultimate round of Super GP. If you've gone this good, there's no way in hell that you cannot get down to Desi's Raceway.
Yeah, but I'm happy to finish. Big thanks to a great event. I just need Red Bull now or something because I'm tired. But
yeah, welcome to the world of racing. 4 races on the day. That's how hard it is. But I think if you start concentrating on one of the classes for next year, potential is there.
yeah, but I'm going to try and do my best next year. Hopefully, if I get fast enough, I'll try to do a season with the full GP box.
Brilliant stuff. Well done and congrats on the Rookie. Let's go to Brandon Good. Brand, another fantastic outing out there. It started well, and it looked like it was going to be a big battle between the lot of you. You managed to get away, and unfortunately at the end there, had to fight hard with Kershaw, who came out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, in the beginning, Lance got an excellent start, so I was caught behind him. Stayed with him, he had a very good pace. And then he had a little bit of a moment, lost the back, and then from then on, he was very ginger in the corners, and he hesitated a lot. And then he made a little mistake coming onto the back straight, and I was fortunate enough to get past him and keep it there. And then I had no idea Kershaw was behind me. He must have been going pretty damn fast, so well done to him. Well done to Clint, well done to Matthew. You guys rode very, very well. I'd like to thank CJ Auto. I'd like to thank the whole of MTech Yamaha, Nashua, everyone else who helps us. They really do so much for us, and I can't thank you guys enough. All
right, we're heading down to potentially your home track advantage, and I know it's already a home track advantage because you're a little bit up the road, but it's still Natal, and you're going to have big support.
Yeah, you know, it'll be good to finally have some, friends there and have some home support. So I know I'm really looking forward to that. Today we came out with 2 seconds, which I can't be, unhappy with. So well done to Stella, well done to the MTech Nashua guys. They worked really hard, fixed the bike from after crash and Super Pole, and hopefully the Durban round we can actually come back stronger and fight for the win more than we did today.
Finally, Mr. Seller. Oh, dude. You always sit down. I think it's the age. It's like both you and I are getting to that point, eh? 28, yeah. 28 and some change. But a great day, and that's the way you want to go into the final round. There is still some points up for grabs. It's not quite done and dusted just yet, but there's a comfortable margin.
No, absolutely. I mean, this race is really important for me. We've been spending a lot of time developing the bike with the team, with Alfie Swanepoel, with Martin Pretzel. Brad's given us a little bit of room to go do some testing, so we managed to shoot down to Desi's and spend a day just going around figuring out what it's all about. So I think that put me in good stead. And then a little bit of time on the motocross bike has been, yeah, I think a night and day switch for me, really. I try to spend every weekend on it, much to my fiance's dismay. But the more time on that bike just seems like it correlates to lots of fun on my R1.
The R1's working well, and heading to Desi now. You've got to go and do it and hopefully take 4 in a row. That's something quite unique.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not stressing too much about the consecutive ones. I just want to go to Desi's and have a lot of fun on my bike. And I think the work that we've done will definitely show, when we're there. It's the track that's going to suit the Yamaha, absolutely. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun out there.
Rob, it's been a bit of a turnaround in the championships. We've seen one championship wrapped up today with Super Juniors. What a change up to bring in Bots and the Super M combined. And a big up to you for being here for the day.
I paid 70 Rand to get in, and it was the best 70 Rand I've ever spent in my life. I'm going to try and get it back, that's for sure. But introducing the Bots, best thing they could have done, having those Ducatis and KTMs join the championship, amazing. We had a full grid for the Super Ms and the Bots, and it was world-class racing. William Friend taking the first Super Junior title. The Super 600, that race 2 battle was world-class, exceptional. You do not get better. And Clint Seller, the double for the day, and Matty Skoltz, the lap times those guys were doing, just phenomenal.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to the final round of this championship as we head down to Desi's Raceway on the 19th of September. Rob Portman said he's going to cycle down there, so we're going to look forward to seeing him on the road. But please join us at Desi's Raceway on the 19th of September. The Diode SuperGP Champions Trophy is proudly brought to you by Digital Entertainment On Demand and their associate sponsors.